Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Motti, National Educator with John Paul Mitchell Systems, here today on behalf of John Paul Mitchell Systems and BSG, our distributor. Today we're going to be talking about blonding, and specifically we're going to work on the Platinum card, which is a Paul Mitchell technique for blonding, used specifically when we want to take a client all over from a 6 or 7 to a platinum blonde. There are so many different applications that we can use this for, especially in today's day and age when we're working with a lot of bright, vivid colors with our pop series, and especially when our clients are looking to go to that all over platinum and we want to be able to get them there in one salon visit. Now, there are lots of different times when we will want to use this technique, and there are also different times when we won't want to use this technique. So we're going to go over all of that today. Today, we're also going to go over safely using this technique, the follow-up in the salon that we'll use as far as using our treatments and what we're going to use in back bar, and then also what we're going to send our client home with to follow up at home with their post blonding, and how they're going to use our Paul Mitchell take home items to use at home to take care of their hair after we've gone through all the things we're going to go through with them today. First, what I want to go over real fast is what this technique has done for me in the salon. So using the Platinum card technique in the salon has given me the ability to take those clients that you kind of might look at and go, you want to be blonde in one day, and take them to blonde in one day. I remember when I was a younger stylist starting out, it was almost unheard of. We would have some clients come in and say, you know, I want to be blonde. And the first thing that we would say to them is, okay, we can get you there. You might need to come back 2 or 3 times, but we can get you there. Well, now I have the ability to say, you want to be blonde in one day, I can get you there. Come on in and let's sit down and talk about your commitment today and how much time you can spend in the salon with me today. Because if you've got the time, then I've got the capability and the technique to get you there today. So what this does now is it gives them, one, that instant gratification that kind of today's generation is looking for, and it also gives them the understanding that I have the ability, the talent, the techniques that can get you there today, just like you're looking for. Mind you, like I said, not every client is the perfect candidate for this technique, but you can definitely have this in your back pocket as a candidate or as a stylist for the right candidate to get them there in one day with using the Platinum card technique. What you're going to get out of today's class is that not only the technique, but the knowledge of how to follow up with your client and create a higher frequency of visit. Blondes do not like to see a whole lot of regrowth. So after today's technique, you'll be able to increase your frequency of visit with your client who you make platinum blonde, because in 4 weeks they're gonna wanna do a touch up on that. So that's gonna increase the amount of times that your client comes in to see you and increase your bottom line, right? We all know it's all about the frequency of visit. So you're gonna get this client where they wanna go, and then you're gonna have every 4 or 5 week visit to do the touch up on them. And we're gonna talk a little bit about planning with your client and how to get them in on an ongoing basis, that every 4 to 5 weeks when they start to see that regrowth and it gets to the point where they just can't do it anymore, and the importance also of getting them in here on a regular basis. You can't have your platinums go more than 4 to 5 weeks. We'll talk a little bit about why that is and why they need to follow up on a very regular basis. Okay, so we're back now. Now I have my model Floor with us, and I've already done half of her head using our Platinum card technique. So as you can see, I'm going to turn him. As you can see, I've already gone through, the technique requires that you start in the back and work your way to the front. So I worked through the right rear section, right rear, of her head and also through the left. I just completed her last foil on the left side, so now I'm going to work towards the front. At the same time, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about our model, and then also about why I chose to use the products that I'm using. So today, Flora's virgin hair, which we're so happy to have virgin hair. I don't have to worry about certain things when I'm working with someone with virgin hair. She's got a natural level 4 hair, and I'm not at all concerned about any pre-existing color on the ends of her hair, since we know it's virgin. So today I chose to go with DPL. I chose DPL because she is not going to have any reason for me to believe that the foils will swell. So these little packets that I make are going to stay completely flat as they are, or near completely flat. I'm not going to worry about any pre-existing color, any metallics, anything like that, swelling these packets or making anything kind of kooky happen in there. But I am using our powerhouse DPL 30 volume. We're trying to get 3 to 4 levels of lift. My goal today is to get Flora from this 4 to a beautiful level 8 that I can tone to a natural tone and have her just walk out of here like just a blonde bombshell. So this platinum card technique, the way that we do it is we take small 1/4 inch sections that are thin enough that we can kind of see through. 1/4 inch. I'm going to get the hang of how to use this comb here one day. Here's our little section, and we're going to work completely up the side of her head using a foil. The first one's always kind of the most awkward, I find. So we're going to place, sorry Flora, I'm going to place this one, and we're going to go ahead and get our lightener on there. I like to get, just get it on there kind of a little bit below where we're actually ultimately going to bring it up to, just so that I can get that foil to stick and then get the lightener through the rest of the strands of hair, making sure that we saturate through the ends, and also making sure that we go up right almost to the very edge at the top of the foil, ensuring that we have good saturation. And then we're going to fold this foil in half. Now I did overlap a little bit here. I'm going to go under and just tighten it a smidge. And then we're going to fold each end in. Just one fold over on each side. Careful not to overlap those folds too much. So for instance, this fold lays right on top of this foil here, because later we're going to slide these down for the rest of the technique. So I'll show you again. This is the most important thing that you can do, is place these foils properly, because that will ensure later when you go to do part 2 that you are able to move the foils and get in between each foil the way that you need to. So again, I'm going to take a foil. I'm going to lay it right in my section here. Get my DPL in. Just saturate my entire section all the way to the ends. Back up. Back up almost to the edge of our foil. Fold this up one time. And then folding our foil in. Now our foil packet, once folded, should equal the size of the section of hair that we've taken. So I'll do this just a couple more times so you can see. While I'm doing it, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of our other lightener options. So forgive me for not looking directly at the camera. I'm looking at my section, but we're going to talk about perhaps some reasons why we might choose another lightener, and or what those, you know, what those options would mean for the final result. So for instance, if Flora had come to me with lighter hair, for instance, I might choose either Synchrolift, which is our blue lightening powder with a potato starch base. It's fragrance free and it resists swelling. So I might choose that one for a little bit more control, maybe a little bit slower lift, or I even might choose that one if she had come to me with previous color, because if it resists swelling, then not knowing if the color she'd used previously had metallics in it, that would really be a good option for us. You still get up to 7 levels of lift with Synchrolift, just like you do with DPL, but as I said, certain canvases are going to require certain tools. Also, I could potentially choose to use Lighten Up. Lighten Up is our lightening paste. With Lighten Up, I might use a candidate that has maybe even less to go. Maybe she comes in here and she's, you know, already a level 7, or maybe she's got compromised hair because she's already done some stuff. Maybe she's lightened and gone darker, or maybe she's put a fashion color on there and we just need to kind of start working her to a lighter color gently. Our Lighten Up blonding paste is really a great candidate, or a great option to use on a candidate like that. The reason why I like Lighten Up is the consistency is completely different than either of our powder lighteners. You know, the paste works in such a smooth, slow fashion. You still get beautifully consistent results, but you do also have a much slower, much gentler, with that beeswax base and the conditioning agents. It's just gonna take like the slow train to get you there. So today with Flora, we're gonna work through this section, continue to work through this section. Actually, this is going pretty quickly. I'm pretty impressed with the speed that I'm able to maintain and work through this section. Once we get through both of our front sections, what we'll do is we'll make sure that all of her packets have reached 2/3 of the processing that we desire. So for instance, as I said to you before, I'm trying to get her to a level 8. If I want her at a level 8, we're starting at a 4. You know, right when I see that her whole head has reached a level 6.5, kind of close to a 7 maybe, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna slip the foils down a little bit, and I'm gonna apply lightener at the base of where the foils live. So I'm gonna show you what I mean by that right now. So you see right in here, these little sections in between each foil. When we're ready, which we're getting close, you can see this lightening action happening right here. When we get to 2/3 of the desired lightness, I'm gonna start slipping these down and placing lightener in between each of those sections. The heat of Flora's head is really gonna make all of that part lighten a lot quicker than these packets did. And so that's why we're waiting. And that's also how we're gonna get that consistent result. So imagine if I did it now and that lightener was sitting on her this whole time and she was processing at closer to the scalp at a faster pace than she's processing in those packets. Imagine what that would look like when we're done, when we finished our processing time. It would really look like a super blonde base, and kind of, I don't know if it's a common term, but a term that we use here in this salon anyway, is hot roots. So she would look like she had hot roots, much lighter, closer to the scalp. and then a little darker as we come out further away from the scalp. That's just because of the heat that's generated from her head. And our lightener, since it doesn't require any additional heat from outside sources, it really works off of the heat that's produced by our client's scalp. So if we're producing more heat closer to the scalp, then that's where she's gonna work the fastest. Her lightener is really gonna process quickly there. So we're gonna use the power of that to help us with our process. So we're working closer and closer to the top here. So as I'm working closer to the top in this section on Flora's head, you'll notice this is wide. This is a pretty wide section. So while I'm okay using one foil here in the part where I'm at, when I get closer to the top up here, it's okay to use two. We don't want to try and stretch one foil over that whole section. We're going to go ahead and break that up into two sections. Something else I want to talk about real fast is my use of longer foils. Flora came in with pretty long hair. So rather than trying to squeeze all of her long hair into a standard sized foil, I opted to go with longer foils so that I could make sure to get the proper saturation without having to layer the hair on top of itself time and time again. So this allows me just a little bit of overlapping in the foil, not a whole lot. And it also allows me to make sure that I can work through this whole foil and make sure that she's completely saturated from top to bottom. So I chose the longer ones. Even though I had already prepared hundreds of smaller foils, I decided that these were going to be a better option for us. So had she come in with a bob or a shorter haircut, I probably would have used those shorter foils. In my experience, it does not affect the outcome that we're using longer foils. It really just allows me a little bit more control within each packet to be able to do it this way, to use a tool, another tool in our tool belt, right? We're constantly amassing tools to put in our tool belt. So I will continue to work through this section and then move on to the next section. And I think what we'll do is we'll pause this video and we'll come back to you and give you an update once we've worked through the sections and we are working through each packet and applying the foils, or I'm sorry, applying the lightener in between each of those foils. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, so now we are at the point where we've got all the foils in. You can see we've got the entire head foiled with packets. This is what the platinum card looks like at its finest. I always love looking at this. It's just aesthetically pleasing. I like having my clients look at it because it looks neat. You'll never have another technique that looks as cool as this while you're doing it. Anyway, it's time now. You can see here how much lightness we've gotten out of her, and it's time now to go in and apply the lightener in between each foil at the base. So we're gonna slide each foil down. This is how it's done, right? Slide each of these foils down just a smidge. This one's already slid, and we're gonna put the lightener at her base. DPL is safe for on and off scalp application, so we're gonna use it on the scalp. Put it right here at the base, and we're gonna work all the way down this section in between each foil, making sure that we're getting full saturation, and then we'll work through the next section. I'm gonna go in exactly the same order that I started with, except instead of working from the bottom to the top, I'm gonna work from the top to the bottom. The reason I like to do that is that there's gonna be a lot more heat down here than there is up here, and we're going to get just a little bit more time out of these top foils. Even though we're going to generate a lot of heat off of the head, we're going to give these foils up here a little bit more time with the lightener so that it can catch up to where our foil packets are. So here we go. Here's how this starts. I'm going to go ahead and grab my DPL. It's the same mixture that I used in her packets. So it's DPL, dual purpose lightener, 30 volume. So we're going right in and lift it up. Make sure that our top and our bottom is saturated. Slide our next packet down just a little bit, lift it up, get in between, get in, just it's that easy and that quick. In between, making sure that we're saturating every single piece of hair in here. Slide it down a little bit so we overlap to where that line of demarcation is. In and in. We'll continue working this throughout. Slide this down a little bit, in and in. We want to get a completely even canvas when we're done. When we start pulling these foils out, we want to see where her whole head is the same level of lightness, or as close as we can to the same exact level of lightness throughout. I'm pretty excited because I peeked into her foils before, opened up a packet here and there, and it's lifting even beyond what I thought we were going to get out of it, because it's just so healthy and hasn't had anything done to it before. So we were able, it looks like we might get her to a 9, but 8's the goal. 9 would be just a little bit beyond what I thought we could achieve, even though we're completely open to the level 9, and I think it would look gorgeous too. I kind of, you know, sometimes when you are doing these things, you want to make sure that you can deliver what you've promised. So sometimes we need to under-promise and over-deliver. This is going to help you even gain the confidence of your clients, I think, a little bit more than if you promise them the world and then have to kind of backtrack because maybe, you know, some of the circumstances that you were working under were not ideal. Perhaps there is existing color on there and keeps you from achieving the desired level or the level that you thought you might get to. But it seems like in this case, it's going to be an under-promise, over-deliver scenario, which I'm pretty happy with. Okay, so now that you see how we are going to go about getting through each and every single one of these, we are going to work through the entire head, doing it exactly this. And then we will see you again after we complete the process and shampoo and tone our model. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so here's Flora's final product, the final product of Flora's hair. After we did our platinum card, we did successfully get her to a level 8, a little bit actually beyond that in some places. So I went back in and I toned her with the, I'm gonna come around this side because of the lights. I toned her with the Color XG, 8PN, 2 parts of 8PN to 1 part of 8A to cancel out the warmth and to get her to a more neutral, natural tone. We did leave that on as a toner on damp hair for approximately 12 or 13 minutes, if I could get that out. And then we rinsed her out and we shampooed her with the post-color shampoo, our professional only shampoo, to stop any oxidation that was happening in there. We also did an Awakui Wild Ginger Care Triplex treatment to maintain the integrity of her hair. So we did the Awakui Wild Ginger shampoo, and then the Awakui Wild Ginger conditioner, along with the intensive treatment and the Care Triplex mixed in there as well. We then gave her a voluminous blowout using the Vivid Volume blowout technique, and we used our Extra Body Root Boost along with extra body sculpting foam to support that style. We curled the hair into real tight curls after we blew it, and we pinned it up, and then we let it all down, and I did a dry haircut on her at the end to support the color and the style. And this is the final product of that. Today we're going to send her home with Forever Blonde shampoo and conditioner, and actually we're also going to send her home with the Dramatic Repair to continue to add moisture to her hair, since those safflower oleosomes are going to hug her hair and time release moisture back into her hair. We're going to go ahead and get her set up with that. I'm also going to get her set up with the Platinum Blonde shampoo, the purple shampoo. I want her to use that once a week to maintain the tone that she currently has, and to kind of help her go a little bit longer before she has to come in here and get it toned again. I want her to be just as happy at home as she is here, so I'm going to set her up to be able to succeed at home with her hair too. I don't want her to call me next week and go, it's not the same. And I know too that her hair is in a kind of a warm state when the toner starts to rinse out a little bit. So we'll set her up for success with that. So again, I challenge you to embrace the Platinum Card and try to use it in the salon to get your clients that you might otherwise have thought you can't get blonde. Go ahead and try that Platinum Card. It's gonna help you succeed at getting them blonde and then keeping them coming into the salon on a regular basis to maintain that blonde. Once those roots show up, we know it's regrowth, but they call it roots. Once they show up and they change the tone of the hair, or they start to see a little bit darkness, once blondes get used to being light, they don't like to see dark. So they'll come back every couple weeks and help you to, get up those frequency of visits like we talked about. In closing, great hair is not something that everybody is born with, but it is something everyone can achieve. Let's show our clients how to do that.